I know in my body, at least, when weather starts to get cold or when just anything at all cold touches my body has this natural recoil response. For instance, if you've ever, gone in a cold lake and your breath just kind of immediately gets taken away, go, and it's just like your whole body's trying to just like find its way to get back warm, to be comfortable again. And so when days start to get cold, like today, our body naturally has this tendency to start withdrawing and to start getting stagnation. We start to say, oh, maybe I don't have to go outside. Oh, maybe, I was going to go on a hike, but I think I'll stay indoors. And that's kind of a natural response. Think about hibernating animals. This is the time of the year that they literally just go to sleep. That's completely stagnant for a huge chunk of the year. And so the idea that we're bringing into our body as we're traveling through our class today is this idea of removing stagnation by creating different movements, like different warming movements, getting our muscles and our body warm, using a little bit of strength, and also having gentle, kind of using our muscles to help us move into different twists and things like that can get some of those deeper cells of our body starting to shift and move and warm. So that way our body and our mind, everything is much more in a state away from stagnation. We're a state of free flow. And so take a moment to allow the breath to flow deep and full, at least 2 or 3 rounds. This takes us away from that stagnation, that immediate withdrawal when things that are cold hit us. Good. And as the next inhale starts, we'll start to take the knees into the chest. As we do a few little movements on the sacrum and the hips, this is a chance for us to check in with our body, especially if there's any imbalances going on in that area. We just make sure to be aware, to be cognizant, to make any adjustments we need to keep our body safe. And so from here, as I promised, we're already going to start diving in, warming up our body a bit. So this first movement, we're going to keep our knees over our hips and then our shins stick directly out so it's at a nice 90-degree angle. From here, the arms open out to the ground left and right. That helps to keep our upper bodies kind of really grounded. So what we'll do with a nice inhale, tilt the legs partway to one side. Exhale, extend the legs long to that angle. Inhale, bend, go through the center and shift to the other side. Exhale, extend. Inhale to switch. Exhale to reach. What I love about this is oftentimes when we're working the core, we're working mostly on the rectus abdominis, the muscles that do the crunch action. And this movement actually involves the obliques. So we're including some of those deeper muscles that maybe have been stagnant for a while. We don't use that as often. And so we're helping those areas even to come a little bit more awake, a little bit more alive today. And let's go twice more each side. Good. After that last one, allow your left leg to extend long on the ground, hands clasp around this right knee, and we're pulling this right knee in toward the right shoulder as deep as it wants to open. And a few breaths to feel ourselves starting to ease into this area of the body. Backing off a little bit, aim this right knee toward the left shoulder. It won't be able to go in nearly so deep, just a couple of inches, but you'll start to feel the outer hips starting to open up in a good way. So we're starting to ease into all those areas around the hip joint. And then keeping both hands clasped still right now, start to swing this right knee as wide open to the right as it can go with both hands there. Getting a whole new spot of that hip joint. From here, about 5 rounds of it, we're going to take this knee into the left hand into a partial twist. And then swing it right back open to the right hand, super wide to the right. So just like that, here we're heading for 4. 3. 2. And this last time heading over into the twist, just let it stay. We're not forcing anything, so the knee doesn't have to touch the ground at all. Instead, we're just easing the muscles of the back, imagining any of those more stagnant muscles, those muscles that don't like to stretch as much. We're easing into those areas. Nothing forceful, just a kind encouragement. Good deep inhale. And exhale. This hip goes on the ground. Let this right leg stretch up to the sky for a moment. This could be as active or as passive as you'd like as we're getting into the backside of the leg for a moment. Eventually, let's take this right leg up onto the left thigh. Hands hug around left side for the hip opener. Take another good breath in. And then exhale when we release right leg, it gets to stretch all the way long to the ground. Clasp hands, pull this left knee directly in toward left shoulder. Back off a little bit and then aim left knee toward right shoulder. And backing off a little bit to aim the knee wide, opening out toward the left side. Let's start with our 5 rounds, starting to swing this knee across the body toward right. And then opening back out, left hand supports the knee as it's traveling leftward. It's okay if your pace is slightly different. We're aiming for 4. 3. 2. Okay, this last one we get to stay in the twist. Remember, nothing forceful. This is just a kind way to encourage it open. So now hip starts to return to the ground. Let's extend left leg up. This can be passive, it could be active, whatever your body is encouraging you to do right now. And then taking this left ankle up onto right side, hands hug around right side. Another deep inhale. And with our exhale, as we start to release, we're going to take our fingertips behind the back of the head, clasping them together. This will support the head. Now we twist right elbow toward left knee. Right leg extends out long. And from here, we start to do switches. So opposite elbow toward knee, other leg extends. Exhale each time you come up. Helping the body to warm up. And a little hint, the higher up your angle is, the easier this is. The lower down you travel closer to the ground, the harder it is for your body. So just choose that appropriate angle. And let's try to go for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great job. Let's rock up to sit. Heading into a nice cobbler's pose. Bottoms of the feet are together. And start to just let the spine relax all the way up and over. You can absolutely let your neck be loose here, starting to work out some of the neck tightness. Sometimes that can be an extremely helpful thing. And then as we start to sit up from here, you can either keep a clasp of the hands onto the feet, onto this ankle area so that the posture is easy to stay tall, or you can bring your hands behind you to sit up tall. So either way is fine. We're going to sit up tall. The shoulders are relaxing down away from ears. And then from that spot, start to bring the right ear over the right shoulder. Starts to float back up. Take it easefully. And then drop left ear over left shoulder. Good. And then the head starts to rise back up. Now, in this time where people are wearing masks all over, it seems like our facial muscles are one of those areas going through a lot of stagnation right now. And so this next one helps to open and express our face muscles as much as we can. So it will go like this. I'm going to do a countdown of 5. For the first countdown of 5, you're going to scrunch your face up, scrunch your nose, scrunch your mouth, your eyeballs, everything. Scrunch it up, and I'll do that countdown for 5. The next countdown for 5, you do the opposite. You expand your face muscles. You try to open your eyes, open your mouth. Just everything is as open and expanded as possible. So that'll be 1 round, going through a count of 5 for scrunch and a count of 5 for opening the face. And we're gonna do 3 rounds total of that. So when you're ready, start to do the first scrunch, nose, mouth, eyes, everything. And we're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reverse it nice and wide. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 2. Scrunch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And wide. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more round. Scrunch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and wide. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Let the face relax. Nice and open with a lot of those muscles. Lots of toning going on in the face. So from here, we're going to plant the right hand to the right side. As we start to lift the left arm up and over, just make sure you're not lifting sitting bones. So we're not trying to tilt with both sitting bones down. We lean over to the point where it's just a good stretch for shoulders and side ribs. Beautiful. And from here, just start working through some of the stagnation in these areas. Think of your thumb and pull your thumb as far back as your shoulder will open. And then start to release and even round forward. Maybe fingers touch the ground. And we'll do that 4 more times, nice and slow. So peeling open and back. And rounding forward. Here's 3. 2. And 1. Good. Rising up, switch it out. Leaning to second side. We pause for a moment just to enjoy the muscles establishing themselves to this direction. And starting to move through some stagnation. Pull the thumb back. And round the arm forward. Here's 4. 3. 2. And 1. Beautiful. Rising up. We've got one more strengthening thing before we move on. If tailbone is any issue, you'll keep the feet on the ground and just work on the torso doing crunches like this. If you can hold in a boat pose, that would be the next variation. Trying to just hold whether hands are supporting or not. And if you're able to extend the toes out and then crunch the elbows to touch one thigh, we'll do a few rounds of that variation. That'll be the hardest option. So if you're taking that, here's 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Good. Our body feeling heated already just from that simple movement. So now let the legs extend out long. Inhale, engage the spine, lifting the hands up tall. Exhale, forward fold. Keep your breath flowing, imagining even just the movement of the breath in the body helps to remove some stagnation. Let one more breath flow through your body. Inhale. And with the exhale, start to rise. Let's swing our knees underneath us. We'll start taking a few rounds of cat-cow, spine rounding up to the sky and down. Kind of flow through a slow breath. No need to rush it. Take one more good round up and down. Good. So from here, we're lowering down to elbows, and we're going to try to stay in a nice elbow plank. So the legs walk out. We try to lift the knees up. If we can hold here, we're trying to stay flat. If we need to pike the hips up a little bit, that'll make it slightly easier. Or conversely, some people might need to drop the knees down and just hold the plank from here. But either way, we're going to try to hold for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now drop knees and then lower the hips down. We're naturally in Sphinx from here. So hands separate. They're nice parallel lines. Flat hands on the ground, and we try to drag the hands backwards without them actually moving. Instead, the heart is pulled forward and through. So just enjoy that nice opening for all the vertebrae. Oftentimes we take that hunched forward position, if anything, during the day. So this is a chance to help reverse it. Enjoying another good inhale. And then with our exhale, slide the hands under shoulders, press back, take a moment with child pose. Letting the spine have lots of chance to lengthen and extend. Stay here as long as you like. At some point, you'll feel ready for a nice downward facing dog. So when you're ready for that, you can make your way up, start to work through some stagnation that might be present in the legs. Motion to pedal the calves out. That can feel really nice. Breath in, breath out, drop to knees. We're going to take that elbow plank once again. This one will have an additional variation if you want to take it. Otherwise, you're welcome to explore with either of the two options we had before on knees or hips lifting. If you're here and you want to do the additional option, what we'll do is rotate the right hip and lower it down an inch or so. And then rotate left hip. So if we're doing that, let's take another 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, and then lower all the way down onto the belly. Arms come close to our hips, palm face up, and we're going to take a variation of locust pose. So float the hands, the shoulders, and the toes. And start to notice with your inhale, the airbag effect in our lungs helps us to float a little bit higher. Usually with the exhale, we release ever so slightly. So then see if the next inhale you can lift even higher. And we'll take 3 more breaths playing with that. When you finish the 3rd breath, head back to another moment with child pose. Beautiful. Start to walk the hands in, set the knees up about as wide as the mat, and tuck the toes behind you. And from here, this is going to be another way to move through some stagnation with a flow. And this is a flow that's like a camel's pose. And so the first thing we do is circle the hands over to the left hand plants, and then as this right hand continues to circle behind you, lift the hips up. Hips lower down, circle both hands through the front, and then planting right hand, lift up the hips. And just keep on going both sides, this nice dancing camel's pose. Let's hit each side one more time. Beautiful. And then heading to a downward facing dog. Sometimes it's nice to even work through the feet, kind of rolling them out in this down dog to get into any little stagnation that might be there. This will be a down dog where you can stay as long as it's still feeling helpful for the body. At any point that you'd prefer to be in a nice standing forward fold, then at that point you'll make your way up toward the top of the mat. And just let your spine release downward. So heading up here if you're not there already. And then from this forward fold, we'll need hands to be either on the ground or on the shin, whatever you can hold on to. And then from here, let this left leg extend straight, the right knee will bend, and then the left arm reaches up to the sky. Good, switching it out, left hand down, left knee bends, right leg is straightening, and right arm up to the sky. Hand goes down, let's switch it one more time. So left leg straight, left arm up. And right. Good, when we go back down, take one more breath in and out. And then inhale to rise. Exhale, hands down at the heart. From here, leave this left foot where it is. We're going to step the right foot back into a lunge, but also cross the right foot off the mat on that left side. Hips are still facing the top edge of your mat, and then try to sweep the arms up to the sky. As long as this doesn't hurt the balance, we're going to grab onto right wrist, and then lean to the left just a little bit. So for today, we're going to call this a dragon lunge. You'll see that we'll repeat it a couple of times. That's okay. Sometimes the balance is off, so that's just as much about that as anything else. Okay, so as we start to release, we're going to step this right foot back up, and then the left foot goes back and crosses to the right. Arms up if the balance is okay, front knees bent. If we can grab onto the left wrist, pull it to the right. Good, another inhale. And exhale, release. Let's take our feet back up onto the mat. And then inhale, circle the arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands will start to travel down toward the ground. Right foot will lunge back, and then right knee can drop down to the ground. Sinking hips forward already. Make sure knee doesn't go past toes. Otherwise, scoot the foot forward. And then hips are still set up, sinking forward. If the balance is there, we walk hands up to the thigh. For today, we can try the option of bringing this left hand to the ground at the left side. If that's too far, you can rest it on the back leg so that right arm can reach up to the sky and lean to the left side. So it's supported in that lean. Good. Unwind. Hook the right wrist on that left knee. The other arm opens into a nice twist. You can stay here or slide halfway down the forearm. You can stay here or slide just above the elbow. And you can stay here or get to the elbow. If you go to elbow, you can take prayer position hands. Good. Slowly reversing, open the arms back up, and then let yourself gradually slide back up to the wrist. Once you're there, shift the hips over the back knee. Front leg goes straight. As we drop down, you're welcome to keep the foot sliding forward toward a partial split. Just as deep as you'd like to go right now. Another good inhale. And then exhale, let's work our knees together. We're going to head toward dolphin pose, so lower to elbows. Double check that your elbows are right under the shoulders by wrapping your hands around. As long as the fingers can wrap, that's a pretty good placement. And then one hand makes a fist, the other hand wraps around that fist, and that's our steady tripod. So from here, tuck the toes, lift the hips up, and if the toes can walk inward at all, go ahead and walk them in. For this first round, we're going to try to hold for about 5 breaths or so, but if you lose control of the breath, if your breath starts to stagnate, that's your cue to drop down into child pose. Keep the breath extra slow as possible. One more inhale. And exhale, we'll all take a moment in child pose. You're ready for down dog, head up to that direction. Starting to make our feet travel their way up to the top of the mat. Hands on floor or resting on the shins. Leave the right hand down. Left leg is straight, right knee bends. We lift this left hand up. Good, left hand down. Right leg straight, right arm up. And dropping that hand, take one more breath in and out. Inhale to rise. And hands at heart. So once again, leave this left foot forward. Slide the right foot back, and if possible, with the balance, also cross it, past the midline over to the left. If this is doing okay, arms sweep up. Grabbing onto right wrist, pull it to the left. Beautiful. Release. Slide right foot forward. Left foot goes back and crosses to the right. Arms can rise. Maybe grab left wrist and pull it to the right. Beautiful. Release. Smooth rise up the top. Standing on left foot, try to float the right leg. Maybe left hand goes to that knee, right arm opens up behind. Return forward, step this foot down. Left knee floats. Right hand to the knee, left hand behind. Inhale. Exhale, return, step the foot down. Circle arms up to the sky, reach up, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands slide down, left foot lunges back. Drop the knee down, make sure the front knee doesn't go past toes. As we sink the hips forward. If the balance is there, hands can go up to the thigh. We're starting to aim the right hand either onto the back thigh for support or onto the floor if we can reach. If we make it there, left hand goes up to the sky and we continue to lean to that right side. Good. Gently rise. Hook the left wrist on the right knee. Open up the other arm behind. You can stay here or slide about halfway up the forearm. Stay here or go right up above the below the elbow. And stay here or go past the elbow, hands to prayer position. Inhale. Exhale, arms open. Slowly slide it all the way up. And once we release, the leg goes straight, hips over the back knee, or we can continue to scoot the foot as far forward as we'd like to go. Inhale. Exhale, start to bring both legs together. Once again, aiming for dolphin pose. Also note that if anything is too hard, just drop down a level to something that we did previously, even up to the point of doing this elbow knee plank. So that's an option. If you're going toward dolphin, once your tripod is set up, tuck the toes, lift the hips, walk the toes in. You could do the same thing as last time, just simply breathing here. You could also lift one foot up and down, and the other foot up and down. So you've got options to play with. Find the variation that's working for your body. Keep on going as long as your breath is still flowing easily. The moment when the breath starts to stagnate, you start to have interruptions. That's the point sooner or later when you're going to drop down into child pose. Catching our breath, try to create a rhythm that doesn't get interrupted. There's no pause in between inhale and exhale. At that top of the circle, there's no pause at the bottom of the exhale. Just keep the breath flowing. And then start to take a moment, walking hands off the edge toward the left side. Through the center to the right side. And as we come back onto the mat, take one more breath in. A nice exhale. And then up to downward facing dog. Movements or stillness, any of it's allowed. Working up to a standing forward fold. Keeping left leg straight, right knee bends. Left arm reaches up to sky. There you go. And then let's switch it out. So now right leg is straight, right arm to sky. Beautiful. Coming back down, inhale to rise. Hands to heart. And let's take our dragon lunge one more time. So left foot stays forward, right foot slides back and crosses to that left side. Arms up to sky if balance is okay. Grabbing onto right wrist, lean it to the left. Beautiful. Release. Slide back up to the top. Now right foot stays, left foot goes back and crosses. Arms up. Maybe grab left and lean it to the right. Good. Release. Slide up. And then here, taking a little challenge, kind of for our feet more than anything else. We're going to bend our knees, sitting back like a chair. The arms will sweep behind us so we feel like we're a drinking bird. And then as we start to sink back here, also try to lift up the heels and stay. If you're doing okay, let's take 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Straighten the legs, and then let's open up to a goddess pose on our long edge of the mat. So the knees are squatting down a little bit. The elbows are going to take a nice 90-degree angle. And this is going to be another chance for us to include some of those muscles of the core while we're twisting, imagining we're getting into some of those spots that might be stagnant. So with the elbows up, we take an inhale through the center. Exhale to twist to one side as much as the muscles can take you. Inhale. Exhale, second side. And just keep on repeating. Let's take 3, 2, and 1. Good. Dropping the arms down to the inner knees. Find ways to get into any stagnant parts. So this could be a shifting left and right. It could be a rotation of one shoulder forward and then the other. Whatever you're playing with, let's take 2 or 3 more good deep breaths. Good. Start to turn the toes toward the long edge of the mat. Release into a nice forward fold. Let the spine relax. Begin to walk the hands over to that right side, one hand surrounding each part of the foot. The right toes turn to the short edge of the mat, whichever one you're on. So from here, we're going to let that right leg take a slight bend and straighten it. Let's repeat that. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Leave this leg straight. As you start to walk back to the long edge, turn the right toes to that direction. Left toes to that side short edge. Hands around the foot. And then from here, the knee takes a slight bend and straighten. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Walking back to the center, turn the left toes. Let the spine release for another 2 breaths. And then you can either just make your way down toward a seated place, or you can take a little challenge with me to get there. If you're doing the challenge, heel toe the feet together. Once the feet are together, keep inner thighs squeezing. Start to bend the knees, lowering the glutes down to the heels. You could stay here, or keeping inner thighs squeezed together, maybe bring hands to balance at the heart. Good. If you're doing this, 2 more breaths. And one hand down in front of you, one hand down behind you. Lower safely down to glutes. The legs can open, and then slide your way forward. Three more breaths to ease the body into this shape. After that 3rd breath, we rise up. Try to allow the posture to be tall, so if the knees need to be a little bit bent, that's okay. Let the left hand be on the ground in front of you, right hand on the ground behind you. Engage the spine to straighten up tall, inhale, and then exhale, ease into a gentle twist. One more breath through this side. And then start to return forward, switch the hands, posture up tall with an inhale. Exhale, ease into the twist. Starting to return forward, we take our legs together. We make sure there's enough space behind us to roll down onto the mat. And then we'll try to engage the core to roll down. So you could grab onto thighs to use that to help you. Or you could try to just lower one vertebrae to touch down, and then the next, and the next, until eventually you're all the way down on the ground. Good. So from here, we'll choose one last pose that feels good for our body. I'm going to take Happy Baby, but if there's any other little movements that your body would prefer instead of Happy Baby, that's welcome. If you're doing Happy Baby with me, you could rock left and right. You could be in stillness. You could work one leg all the way up to the sky and then the other. So lots of room to play with. We'll be here for a little while, so maybe 4 or 5 more deep, wonderful breaths. Sooner or later, you'll feel ready to start settling into your Shavasana. So that could look like feet in cobbler's pose. That could look like feet planted, knees falling toward one another. It could be normal, legs nice and straight. Before we completely release into Shavasana, we're going to do one last release for a tense spot of our face that tends to get a lot of tension. And so what we're going to do is create 2 fists and then use the knuckles to rub along the muscle that if you rub right around the area of the teeth, you'll get right into that muscle. This is the muscle that helps the jaw open and close. And so this really can be helpful, especially if you have TMJ. It really helps to loosen up some tight stuff there. Sometimes I'll do slow lines. Other times I'll do circles. So you can play with whatever feels good right there. Keep on going. Maybe you'll want to move to a different spot. Maybe you want to rub your neck or your shoulders for a moment before you're completely in Shavasana. So just keep on moving and playing around with any of these things that we can help out, helping the body come into a loose space instead of a tight, stagnant space. And when your body feels that loose, easeful quality, at that point, we'll find ourselves opening up to our Shavasana state. Keep the breath flowing and just enjoy this next several minutes that you have to let the body integrate all that we just did. Breath flowing in, breath flowing out. Begin to deepen inhales and exhales. Introduce little movements to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching out like we're waking up first thing in the morning. Eventually taking a nice fetal position off to one side. From here, enjoy a few bonus breaths, really good deep inhales and exhales. Keep on enjoying this breath as we're returning to this present space. Rising up whenever you feel ready. And joining hands together in front of the heart. We connect back to our body. Everything from our face, down our torso, down our legs, to our feet. We've allowed all of it to move and to flow as we travel through our class today. And this is what it feels like to have flow instead of stagnation. So we have days that are cold that make you feel like I don't want to leave the house. I just want to snuggle up with my blanket. It's just this little reminder that including little bits of flow into our day can help the body feel so good, so alert, so alive. And so with flow, with removing stagnation, with all of this to lead us on, let's wrap up the time we got to share together today with a sound of Om. Deep inhale now. Om. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.